Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in the Gulf region right now. It's not just change, it's what you might call a great acceleration. We're talking about a massive economic shift that's completely reshaping industries. But with all this rapid movement, it raises a huge question. How do businesses even begin to manage their most important asset, their people?
I mean, you look at these ambitious national plans, like Saudi Vision 2030 or UAE Vision 2031. They're not just encouraging change, they're practically mandating it. We're seeing brand new industries pop up, explosive growth in the private sector, and these huge digital leaps. Seriously, this isn't a slow evolution, it's a full-on revolution. And that puts incredible pressure on businesses to adapt, and to adapt right now.
And that leads us to a really critical question. For decades, a lot of HR decisions were based on experience, on gut feeling. But in this new high-stakes environment, is that really enough? Can you steer a company through this kind of radical change just on intuition? Well, the data is pretty clear on this one. And the answer is a big, resounding no.
So, what does this challenge actually look like on the ground? Let's dive a little deeper into what we're calling the GCC's Great Acceleration.
This slide really lays out the massive pressure on HR teams perfectly. Just think about it. They're being pulled in all these different directions at once. They have to build workforces for industries that, frankly, barely existed 5 years ago. They have to fuel this private sector boom, manage enormous digital transformations, and make sure it all lines up with these grand national goals. It's a task that old-school manual processes just weren't built to handle, not even close.
So if the old way is broken, what's the fix? What's the new model? Well, the answer really comes down to one word: data.
And this is where HR analytics enters the picture. Now, it might sound complicated, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. It's all about using the data you already have about your people to make smarter, evidence-based decisions that solve real business problems. So, the key here is moving from guesswork to actual clarity.
Now, when you embrace this data-driven approach, you get 3 huge game-changing advantages. First, you just make better decisions. We're talking hiring, promotions, all of it. It's based on facts, not just assumptions. Second, you get these incredible early warning signals. Analytics can literally flag employees who might be thinking about leaving, or even predict the skills you're going to need a year from now. And third, it makes your HR team way more productive. By automating the boring stuff, they're freed up to focus on the big picture, strategic work that actually moves the needle.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's get into some solid examples of analytics in action right now across the GCC.
Let's start with hiring, because it's often happening at a crazy scale in sectors like tech and construction. So instead of just posting a job and, crossing your fingers, data can show you exactly where your skill gaps are. It can tell you which job boards are actually delivering the best candidates, saving you time and money. And now there are even AI tools that can screen resumes to predict who's going to be a great fit. The whole process just becomes faster and a whole lot more accurate.
Finding great talent is one thing. Keeping them is a whole other challenge, right? Well, analytics lets HR get proactive here. By analyzing something as simple as engagement survey data, you can spot issues like burnout before they turn into a resignation letter. You can track how people are moving through the company to build clear career paths for your best performers. And here's the crucial shift. You're no longer just putting out fires. You're actively preventing them from starting.
And finally, we get to the really big picture stuff: strategic workforce planning. This is where leaders can practically look into the future. By pulling together data from HR, finance, and operations, you can take a 5-year business plan and turn it into a 5-year talent plan. You'll know what skills you'll need, how your pay stacks up against the market, and how to avoid those critical skill shortages down the road. It's all about shaping the future, not just reacting to whatever happens today.
So, this is obviously a massive shift. But what does it really mean for the HR pros themselves and for the companies they work for? Let's open up what we're calling the new HR playbook.
Now, this slide just nails the change for HR professionals. The job itself is evolving. It's not just about managing processes anymore. The new HR professional needs to have real data literacy. And I don't just mean reading charts. I mean understanding predictive models and telling powerful stories with data. They've got to be comfortable with AI and analytics tools, turning raw information into strategic insights. And of course, that means the way businesses invest has to change too. The old way, manual processes, information stuck in different silos, it just doesn't cut it anymore.
The new investment is in modern HR systems that can integrate data from across the entire company. And here's the most important part. Companies are starting to see HR not as a cost center, but as a real strategic driver of growth.
So how does a business actually make this happen? Well, it starts with investing in the right modern software. That's step one. Then, don't be afraid to bring in outside experts to help speed things up. And this is critical. You have to build a culture where your leaders actually trust and use data to make decisions. And finally, you have to break down those silos. Get HR, IT, and other departments talking and working together.
All right, let's bring this all together. What is the fundamental change happening to the role of HR? What's the bottom line?
This right here is the single most important thing to take away from all this. For years, HR was often seen as a back-office support function. That era is over. In the fast-paced economy of the modern GCC, it has to be so much more. I think this quote from our source material just says it all perfectly. HR is shifting from a support function to a strategic partner, one that uses data to give the business a competitive edge and help it navigate this rapidly changing world. It's about shaping strategy, not just executing it.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. In this new landscape, talent really is the ultimate currency. So take a look at your own organization. Is it truly using data to win the war for talent, or is it still fighting tomorrow's battles with yesterday's tools?